Shalom, my name is Adam, and I welcome you to the parable of the vineyard. Every day, Yahuah is waking up a remnant, a group of people who are coming out of deceptions, realizing our walk is to consist of faith and obedience to His righteous commands. Each week, we read through and examine a portion of the Torah, allowing the Spirit of the Most High to guide, teach, and open our eyes and ears to the wondrous matters out of His law. Join us as we seek to be refined by His Word, preparing ourselves for the return of our King of Kings, being faithful and obedient, walking in His way, truth, and life. Shabbat Shalom and welcome back, brothers and sisters. Welcome to the Parable of the Vineyard YouTube live stream of our Torah portion. This is week 8, Korach, and it's going to cover Numbers chapters 16, 17, and 18, mostly centered around the rebellion of Korah, Dathan, Abiram, the ground opening up, swallowing them whole. Pretty wild stuff. And as we remember, last week we ended with the commandment of the Tzitzitet. And sure enough, the very next thing happens is you have a rebellion from Korah. And what's interesting is, we'll get into it actually in just a minute. Let's start with prayer. Heavenly Father, Yahuah, we come before you in Yahusha's name, and we bless you and thank you for even giving us life, even allowing us to be here, oh Yah. And we thank you for opening our eyes to your truth, and we pray that you would continue to open our eyes and ears that we may grow and do what's right in your sight. And we say Shabbat Shalom. Amen. And you know what? Let's wake you up a little bit. Okay, now that you're awake. So, what's really interesting is I kind of had a thought that Korah's rebellion started because of the Tzitzitet and either a disagreement of either wanting to wear them at all or something surrounding the Tzitzitet. And it's interesting that a lot of you know that, just in case you're stumbling across this one randomly, this year I have felt led to study also alongside the Sefer version, which is kind of our baseline that we read from. We take a look at sometimes at the Septuagint. We mostly looked at that last year, but this year the Targums has been something of great interest to me. And it's interesting that in the Targums it plainly states that that's exactly what was the cherry on top, essentially, for Korah and the rebellion to argue with Moshe and Aharon and to try to overthrow them. So very interesting. We'll read that in a second. Actually, today I think we're actually going to read exclusively from the Targums today. I've compared both copies of the Sefer and the Targums, and the Targums are the same with just a few extra details. So I just feel led to just read from that today. Hopefully that's you can understand. Before we get into it, just in case also if you're new, I offer these studies as not as a teaching necessarily, but as a study. You know, we being equals, and I'm conducting this like as if we were in my living room, and I'm just sharing with you my notes and some things that I've been led to connect with other scriptures and things like that. So, the reason I say that is because, well, you know, we're all kind of still new to the Torah. Most of us didn't grow up with it. Most of us are relatively new to it. Some of you all have been doing it maybe 10, 15 years. Some of you have been doing it for 10, 15 days, right, and something in between. But nevertheless, I'm a student of the Torah, and I just want to share this as a study. So let's study together. Let's be study buddies. How about that? So we're going to, let's see, I'm going to do a screen share. And maybe, and by the way, it's different here. I'm on the road. I'm in Southern California, handling some family stuff. So, actually, this is the Torah. Let's flip over to the Targums. And if you're new, the Targums is the Aramaic translation of the scriptures. So remember, the last thing we left off on last week was the commandment to wear tzitzit. So with that understanding, let's go. Chapter 16. But Korach bar Tzitchar bar Kohath bar Levi with Dathan and Abiram, the sons of Eliab, and On bar Peleth of Benai Reuben, the sons of Reuben, took his robe, which is of all of hyacinth, and rose up boldly in the face of Moshe, appointed a different observance in the matter of the hyacinth. Check this out. And Jerusalem says, and Korah took counsel and made division. Right? He wanted to divide, which Yahuah hates. It's in the Proverbs chapter 6. He hates it. Moshe had said, I have heard from the mouth of the Holy One, whose name be blessed, that the fringes are to be of white with one filament of hyacinth. Oh, but Korach and his companions made garments with their fringes altogether of hyacinth, which Yahuah had not commanded, and 250 men of the sons of Israel who had been made leaders of the congregation at the time when the journeys and the encampments were appointed by expression of their names supported him. And they were gathered together against Moshe and Aharon, and said to them, let the authority you have hitherto suffice you, for all the congregation are holy, and Yahuah Shekinah dwelleth among them, and why should you be magnified over the church, the ecclesia, the kahal of Yahuah? So we actually have an argument of tzitzit. And so Moshe is like, no, it's supposed to be of all white with one strand of blue. And so if you look at this one, it is actually one strand of blue, one long one, but tied together, and it comes out into two. But that's one long piece of blue, and the rest is all white. This is the best understanding that many of us had to do this. Now, this is a new information for you, from me, and for a lot of you, because I've seen some really cool tzitzit out there with all kinds of colors, especially the little children. They got fluorescent and all these different things. And I've even seen some guys do camouflage colors, all kinds of stuff. So this is, take this information, in prayer and think about it. But this is essentially what started Korah's rebellion. So Korah is is all of hyacinth. Now, I'm going to take a little deeper look myself into hyacinth, because if you look up hyacinth, the standard of hyacinth is this purplish color, which makes sense because the priest's robe had scarlet, and it had blue, and it had purple being hyacinth. Now, you can also find hyacinth that is, blue, maybe a little more close to this royal blue. I know this is the hyacinth flower, but traditionally it's a purple like this. So I'm going to reconsider and maybe consider, this is a hyacinth blue. So there's hyacinth blue and there's hyacinth purple. Which one is correct? I'm not sure, but I'm going to do some praying about it. And because, I don't know, I think like a lot of you out there, you want to do this right. And even when it comes to tzitzit, because as we see here plainly, it was tzitzit that sent Korah and his rebellion over the edge, and was like, all right, we've had enough of you, Moshe. That's enough. We're done listening to you. We're going to tell you a thing or two. So, you also see here Korach declaring, everybody's holy, right? Reminds me of we talked about this last year, the name it and claim it, I'm righteous, and I'm this, I'm that, I'm declaring this, I'm declaring that. Whereas, I think we should have a meek and humble approach to things. If Yahuah will, this is such and such or such and such. I think is it James that talks about where it's or maybe it's John. Anyways, talks about if Yah will, we'll go into a certain place and we'll do this or do that. Whereas instead of we're going to do this and that. Anyways, you see a very prideful, you kind of see a very boastful attitude here from Korah. And we know that is not the kind of attitude that we're supposed to be having. But we also know it's Yahuah who declares who is holy and who's appointed. We see here that Korah has a problem with leadership. And, leadership is something that Yah has established for all ages. And we know that Messiah Yahusha refined that definition of leadership. Leadership isn't like lording over people and be like, go do this, go do that. I mean, sometimes direction is needed. So, but he says the person that is, overseers should be more like servants instead of like lording over people. So, a better understanding of what that actually looks like. Let's see, what else? I had a couple of verses I wanted to share. Well, it is also interesting, though, that you see Korah's lineage. Korah is cousin to Moses and Moshe and Aharon, right? So, I thought I had some... I thought I had some verses about leadership. It's okay. All right. Let's keep going. And Moshe heard as if every one of them was jealous of his wife and would have them drink of the trial water on account of Moshe. And he fell on his face for shame. And he spake with Korach and all the company who supported him, saying, in the morning Yahuah will make known him who he has approved and has consecrated to approach unto his service, and who has pleased him should come nigh in ministering unto him. Do this. Let Korah and all the company of his helpers take censers and put fire in them and lay incense upon them before Yahuah. Tomorrow, and the man whom Yahuah shall make known, it is he who is consecrated. Let it suffice you, you sons of Levi. Give me just a moment. I thought I really had some scriptures here. So Moshe's got like a showdown challenge coming. Let me see here. There it is. Okay. It's just a few verses. Okay. So Korah did not respect who Yah placed as leadership. Hebrews 13:7. Remember them which have the rule over you, who have spoken unto you the word of Elohim, whose faith follow, considering the end of their conversation. And then a little bit further down, Hebrews 13:17. Obey them that have the rule over you, and submit yourselves, for they watch for your souls, and they that must give account, that they may do it with joy and not with grief, for that is unprofitable for you. And so we can see here that Korah and this is what people call New Testament. I've recently been challenged about leadership at our local fellowship, and I gave a lot of evidence for why we need to have leadership or elders, whatever you want to call it, and a lot of the evidence was from the Old Testament, and so their response was, that's all Old Testament. Here's something even from what people call the New Testament, which I just see as one big book, but obey them that have rule over you, and submit yourselves, for they watch over your souls, as they must give account, that they may do it with joy, not with grief, for that is unprofitable for you. And we obviously, Korah caused Moshe grief. He's just like, Moshe's like, come on, why are we sitting here arguing about these little things? Let's follow Yah. Why do you gotta make problems? Why do you gotta make this grievous? 1 Thessalonians 5:11-14. Wherefore comfort yourselves together and edify one another, even as also you do. And we beseech you, brethren, to know them which labor among you and are over you in the Adonai, and admonish you, and to esteem them very highly in love for their work's sake, and be at peace among yourselves. Now we exhort you, brethren, warn them that are unruly, comfort the feeble-minded, support the weak, and be patient toward all men. So, there's also a scripture that says we submit ourselves to each other, but certainly, disrespecting leadership is not what Yah wants us to do. And a lot of people don't like leadership. A lot of people are just like, we're just gonna. I don't need anybody to tell me. I'm just gonna do my thing, like that. And that's the attitude a lot of people take, and I get it, because leadership has really, especially those of you that grew up in the church system, I get it. Leadership probably really abused these things, and I totally get it. But there is supposed to be structure. There is supposed to be order, and that's how Yah has ordained it. I mean, think about the heavenlies. There's structure, there's rank, there's order, there's different classes of angels. There's different rank in his angel classes. So it's like, certainly there's got to be down here. What was shown above, what's above is shown down here. So anyways, I just wanted to make mention of that. So those of you that have like local fellowships and stuff, here online, and we're just all hanging out. But those of you that have local fellowships, just keep that in mind. Keep that in mind, who Yah has put in those kind of places. And Moshe said to Korach and his kindred, Hear now, you sons of Levi, is it too little for you that the Elohim of Israel has set you apart from the congregation of Israel to draw near to do his service, to fulfill the ministry of Yahweh's tabernacle, and to stand before the congregation to minister to them? But so has he brought nigh to you all the sons of Levi with you, and now do you demand the high priesthood also? So Moshe's like, you sons of Levi, I mean, you've been picked for an amazing thing to come nigh unto Yahuah and to do the service of the tabernacle. And he's like, and you want the priesthood too? I mean, that was given to Aaron and his sons. You want that too? You jealous? Are you envious? Therefore are you and all the company of thy helpers gathered together against the word of Yahuah and Aharon. What is he that you murmur against him? And Moshe sent men to summon Dathan and Abiram, the sons of Eliab, to the house of the great judgment. But they said, we will not come up. Is it a little thing that you have brought us from Mitzrayim, a land that produces milk and honey, to kill us in the wilderness, that ruling you may domineer over us? Neither have you brought us into the land producing milk and honey to give us an inheritance of fields and vineyards. Will you blind the eyes of the men of that land, that you mayest overcome them? We shall not go up thither. And Moshe was very wroth, and said before Yahuah, I beseech you, look not upon their offering and the portion of their hands, for not an ass have I taken from one of them, nor to any of them done an injury. And Moshe said, so it's just continued rebellion, right? And Moshe said to Korach, you and all the company of your helpers, come together to the house of judgment before Yahuah tomorrow, you, they, and Aharon, and take everyone his censer, and put incense upon them, and let each offer his censer before Yahuah, 250 censers. You also, and Aharon, each man his censer. And they took everyone his censer, and put fire in them, and sweet incense with it, and stood at the door of the tabernacle of ordinance on one side, but Moshe and Aharon on the other side. And Korach gathered together them, the whole congregation, at the door of the tabernacle. And he had brought forth from his riches 2 treasures, which he had found among the treasures of Joseph, filled with silver and gold, and sought with them to drive the riches of Moshe and Aharon out of the world. But the glory of Yahuah revealed itself to all the congregation. And Yahuah spoke with Moshe and Aharon, saying, separate yourselves from among this congregation, that I may destroy them quickly. Now, it's we've talked about this before. Yah picked Moshe for a reason. He's the meekest man in the world. He knew why he picked Moshe, because any average person, let me tell you something, try to put yourself in Moshe's shoes for a moment. Just think about it. You come out of Mitzrayim, you've got millions of people with you. People are hungry, they're starving, they're complaining. You're hearing it all the time. You're hearing gossip and slander about you, because people are mad at Moshe because that's the leader and that's who they see, right? And he's just getting this, I'm sure, all the time, and it's gotta wear him down. Like, I get it. Like, I can only imagine how frustrated Moshe could have been, or just like, oh, I'm just tired of this. I mean, I think it was last week or the week before, he's like, did I birth all these people? Are they all my children that I should bear this burden? That's when Yahuah was like, I'm going to take up your spirit, and I'm going to pass it around. Or maybe that's a little in the future. I can't remember exactly. But either way, it's in the book of Numbers somewhere. Moshe's like, I didn't give birth to all these people. Like, why, So, but nevertheless, Moshe loved the people. He loved Yah's people. He was the shepherd. He was a good shepherd. And he could have easily been frustrated. And the Most High could have been like, hey, Moses, Aaron, hey, get away from them. I'm gonna annihilate these people. We're gonna start over. Moshe could have been like, you know what? I am so tired of these people, Yah. They're just nothing but complainers and rebels and just naysayers and gossipers and slanderers. I'm done. Do it. Just do it. I think any average person probably would have been that frustrated, would have been done that. But Moshe is like, no. Look what Moshe did. Right? So after Yah's like, separate yourself. I'm gonna wipe him out. But they bowed down upon their faces in prayer and said, El Eloha, who has put the spirit of life in the bodies of the children of men, and from whom is given the spirit of all flesh, if one man has sinned, will you be angry with all the congregation? And Yahuah spoke with Moshe, saying, I have accepted your prayer for the congregation. Now speak you with them, saying, remove away from the tents of Korach, Dathan, and Abiram. So, if Yahusha is the prophet like Moshe, how much more does Messiah Yahusha petition for us? The Most High could be like, no, I'm done. I'm done with these people, right? And how much more would Messiah be like, Father, forgive them, such and such. I couldn't imagine. I can't even put myself in Yahusha's shoes as to what he would say, but I have to imagine he loves us just as Moshe loved the people. And Moshe arose and went to remonstrate with Dathan and Abiram, and the elders of Israel followed. And he said to the congregation, remove now away from the tents of these men of sin, who have been worthy of death from the days of their youth in Mitzrayim. So it's interesting. It's just like our call right now, just like they had to get away from the rebels' tents. For us, Revelation 18:4, and I heard another voice from heaven saying, come out of her, my people, that you be not partakers of her sins, and that you receive not of her plagues. We're supposed to get away from the evil, separate ourselves from it. Ezekiel 23:29-30, and they shall deal with you hatefully, and shall take away all your labor, and shall leave you naked and bare, and the nakedness of your whoredoms shall be discovered, both thy lewdness and thy whoredoms. This is judgments proclaimed on Jerusalem, on Mystery Babylon. And here he tells you why. I will do these things unto you because you have gone a whoring after the heathen, because you are polluted with their idols. So if we're to get away from her, we need to get away from being polluted after their ways and their idols, which, modern day, their modern day form of worship and garbage is, Sunday worship, removing the commandments of Yahuah, not paying attention or not abiding by the Torah, Christmas, Easter, Halloween, all that garbage, right? We got to remove ourselves from these things. So again, remove now away from the tents of these men of sin, who have been worthy of death from the days of their youth in Mitzrayim. For they betrayed my secret when I slew the Mitzrayim. Now that's interesting. We don't get that in the canon. So we do also know, I think, from Jasher and from the Targums that Dathan, it was either Dathan and Abiram, or I think it might have actually been Dathan and Abiram that were fighting with each other. And Moshe came in, and Moshe came in and was like, hey, why do you smite your fellow? And he's like, I think it was Dathan, was like, are you a judge and a prince over us? Are you going to kill us like you killed the Mitzrayim, the Egyptian the other day? So Moshe here is saying in the Targums that that Dathan and Abiram are the ones that went and told Pharaoh, which we actually saw that earlier in the book of Exodus during the Targums, that Dathan and Abiram stood behind and told Pharaoh all these things about Moshe. For they betrayed my secret when I slew the Mitzrayim, the Egyptian. They provoked Yahuah at the sea. At Alush they profaned the Sabbath. And now they are gathered together against the word of Yahuah. And therefore it is fit that their wealth should be scattered abroad and destroyed. Touch not then anything that is theirs, nor be smitten on account of their sins. And they went apart from the tents of Korach, Dathan, and Abiram round about. But Dathan and Abiram came out with reviling words, and arose and provoked Moshe at the door of their tents, with their wives, their sons, and their little ones. So it says here, so they were reviling with their wives and their sons and their little ones. Maybe the whole family was like, "You're out of here, Moshe. You're out of here." I mean, who knows? It could have been a whole family affair that just just stabbing at Moses the whole time. Okay, so, and Moshe said, "By this you shall know that Yahuah has sent me to do all these works, and that I do them not from the thoughts of my heart. If these men die after the manner of dying in which all men die, and the common account of all men be accounted upon them, Yahuah has not sent me. But if a death which has not been created since the days of the world be now created for them, and if a mouth for the earth which has not been made from the beginning be created now, and the earth open her mouth and swallow them and all they have, and they go down alive into Sheol, you will understand that these men have provoked Yahuah to anger." And it came to pass, when he had finished speaking these words, the earth beneath them clave asunder, and the earth opened her mouth and swallowed them up, and the men of their houses, and all the men who adhered to Korach, and all their substance, and they went down with all that they had alive into Sheol, and the earth closed upon them, and they perished from the midst of the congregation. And all Israel who were round about them fled from the terror of their voice, as they cried and said, "Righteous is Yahuah, and his judgment is truth. And the words of his servant Moshe are truth. But we are wicked who have rebelled against him." And the children of Israel fled when they heard. For they said, "Lest the earth swallow us up." And a fire came out in a wrath from before Yahuah, and devoured the 250 men who had offered the incense. And Yahuah spoke with Moshe, saying, "Bid Eleazar bar Aharon the priest to take away the censers from among the burnings, and scatter the fire hither and thither," here and there. "For the censers of these guilty men who have been punished by the destruction of their lives are consecrated, and make of them broad plates for the covering of the altar, because they bear them before Yahuah. Therefore they are consecrate, and they shall be for a sign to the children of Israel." And Eleazar the priest took the brazen censers which they who had been burned had carried, and beat them out for a covering for the body of the altar, as they had before used them for the service of the altar, for a memorial to the sons of Israel, that no common man who is not of the sons of Aharon may offer incense before Yahuah, and that no man should behave himself factiously. I want to say fictitiously, but yeah, factiously. Sorry, never said I was very highly intelligent. To obtain the priesthood, as did Korach and the company of his helpers, and whose end would be to perish, not indeed with a death like that of Korah and his company, by being burned by fire and being swallowed up by the earth, but punished with leprosy, as when Yahuah said to Moshe, "Put thy hand in thy bosom," and his hand was stricken with leprosy, so it would be with him. So here, we don't actually get this part in the canon either, that, if someone were to go in and offer incense unauthorized, they could also have leprosy, which is actually what happened to Uzziah. We'll read this real quick, and we'll read the story of Uzziah, because he was actually a good king, but he messed up big time, kind of like Korah and his men. Let's check it out. 2 Chronicles 26, 1-21. Then all the people of Judah took Uzziah, who was 16 years old, and made him king in the room of his father Amaziah. I think in the book of Kings it calls him Azariah. He built Eloth and restored it to Judah. After that, the king slept with his fathers. 16 years old was Uzziah. No, never mind. Okay, I don't know. His name's Uzziah. 16 years old was Uzziah when he began to reign, and he reigned 52 years in Jerusalem. His mother's name also was Jechaliah of Jerusalem. And he did that which was right in the sight of Yahuah, according to all that his father Amaziah did. And he sought Elohim in the days of Zechariah, who had understanding in the visions of Elohim. And as long as he had sought Yahuah, Elohim made him to prosper. And he went forth and warred against the Philistines, and brake down the wall of Gath, and the wall of Jabneh, and the wall of Ashdod, and built cities about Ashdod among the Philistines. And Elohim helped him build against the Philistines, and against the Arabians that dwelt in Gur-baal, and the Mehunims. And the Ammonites gave gifts to Uzziah, and his name spread abroad even to the entering of Egypt, for he strengthened himself exceedingly. Moreover, Uzziah built towers in Jerusalem at the corner gate, and at the valley gate, and at the turning of the wall, and fortified them. Also he built towers in the desert, and digged many wells, for he had much cattle, both in the low country and in the plains, husbandmen also, and vine dressers in the mountains, and in Carmel, for he loved husbandry. Moreover, Uzziah had an host of fighting men that went out to war by bands, according to the number of their accounts, by the hand of Jeiel the scribe, and Maaseiah the ruler, under the hand of Hananiah, one of the king's captains. The whole number of the chief of the fathers of the mighty men of valor were 2,600. And under their hand was an army, 300,000 and 7,500, that made war with mighty power to help the king against the enemy. And Uzziah prepared for them throughout all the host shields and spears and helmets and habergeons and bows and slings to cast stones. And he made in Jerusalem engines invented by cunning men to be on the towers and upon the bulwarks, to shoot arrows and great stones withal. And his name spread far abroad, for he was marvelously helped till he was strong. But when he was strong, his heart was lifted up to his destruction. So he became prideful, just like Korach did, we see. For he transgressed against Yahuah Elohiym, and went into the temple of Yahuah to burn incense upon the altar of incense, which we saw again here, right? That no common man who is not of the sons of Aharon may offer incense before Yahuah, and that no man should behave himself factiously. Oops. All right, I'm just going to do it. Playful, humorous. Oh. Fun, playful. Laughter. Yeah, okay. Facetious. Okay. Okay, so it is facetious, but it's just spelled differently here. Okay. All right. To obtain the priesthood, as did Korach and the company of his helpers, and whose end would be to perish, not indeed with a death like that of Korach and his company, by being burned by fire and by being swallowed up by the earth, but punished with leprosy. So, Uzziah went in to the temple to burn incense upon the altar of incense, and Azariah the priest went in after him, and with him 80 priests of Yahuah that were valiant men. And they withstood Uzziah the king, and said unto him, It appertaineth not unto thee, Uzziah, to burn incense unto Yahuah, but to the priests, the sons of Aharon, that are consecrated to burn incense. Go out of the sanctuary, for you have trespassed, neither shall it be for thine honor from Yahuah Elohim. Then Uzziah was wroth, and had a censer in his hand to burn incense. And while he was wroth with the priests, the leprosy even rose up in his forehead before the priests in the house of Yahuah, from beside the incense altar. And Azariah the chief priest and all the priests looked upon him, and behold, he was leprous in his forehead, and they thrust him out from thence. Yea, himself hasted also to go out. So Uzziah was like, I'm getting out of here, because Yahuah had smitten him. And Uzziah the king was a leper unto the day of his death, and dwelt in a several house, being a leper, for he was cut off from the house of Yahuah. And Jotham his son was over the king's house, judging the people of the land. So even Uzziah, who was a great king and did what was right, he got prideful, and he's like, I'm gonna offer incense because I deserve it. I'm not trying to make fun of him, because I'm sure he's still was a way better man than I ever was, but I'm just saying, like, we can't ever get lifted up, no matter how set apart we are, no matter how long we've been walking in the walk, no matter how well we think we're doing it. Man, let us never get lifted up, because it can lead us to do the wrong things. But the point being, of course, is that Aharon and his sons only are the ones to offer the incense. But on the following day, the whole congregation murmured against Moshe and Aharon. Can you imagine that? Korah and Dathan and Abiram, the ground swallowed them and their families whole. The other 250 men, that murmured against Moshe were burned alive. And the next day, the congregation's murmuring still. So they're murmuring against Moshe and Aharon, saying, You have been on the occasion of the judgment of death against the people of Yahuah. And it was that when the congregation had gathered against Moshe and Aharon to kill them, they looked towards the tabernacle of ordinance, and behold, the cloud of the glory of the Shekinah covered it, and the glory of Yahuah was revealed there. And Moshe and Aharon went from the congregation to the door of the tabernacle. And Yahuah spake with Moshe, saying, separate from the midst of this congregation, I will consume them at once. So here we go again, right? Rebellion. And Yah's like, I'm done. I'm going to burn them all up. I'm going to consume them. But once again, Moshe and Aharon bowed themselves on their faces in prayer. And Moshe said to Aharon, take the censer, put fire in it from the altar, and sweet incense on the fire. Bear it quickly into the congregation, and make atonement for them, for a destruction like that which consumed them in Horeb, whose name is burning, has begun by commandment to kill from the presence of Yahuah. And Aharon took as Moshe had said, and ran into the midst of the congregation. And behold, the destructive burning had begun to destroy the people. But he put on incense, and made atonement for the people. And Aharon stood in the midst between the dead and the living with the censer, just like Messiah Yahusha stands between the dead and the living now, right? And interceded in prayer, and the plague was restrained. But the number who had died by the plague was 14,700, beside those who had died in the schism of Korach. And Aharon returned to Moshe at the door of the tabernacle, and the plague was stayed. Let's see, I got a little note here of something. Oh, yeah. So it looked like Dathan of Abiram and his children died, but in Numbers 26:11, it clarifies that notwithstanding the children of Korah died not. So Korah's children didn't die, but Dathan and Abiram's children died. Maybe it's because they were mouthing off too. I don't know. Maybe it's because Korach's children weren't with him, and he came with the other Levites to usurp, but Dathan and Abiram and their whole families were there. I'm not sure, but that's just wanted to clarify that point there. So, offering incense, obviously we try to glean in anything that we can as to how things can apply to our walk right now. We know that incense and prayers, well, Psalm 141, 1-2, Yahuah, I cry unto you, make haste unto me, give ear unto my voice when I cry unto you. Let my prayer be set forth before you as incense, and the lifting up my hands as the evening sacrifice. Something to consider. Okay, Numbers 17. And Yahuah spake with Moshe, saying, speak with the sons of Israel, and take of them severally a rod, according to the house of their fathers, 12 rods, and upon each rod you shall inscribe its tribe's name. But on the rod of Levi you shall write the name of Aharon, for there is but one rod for each head of their father's house. And you shall lay them up in the tabernacle before the testimony, where my word is appointed to meet you. Now, this is why I love these targums. Is literally not like a Torah scroll, like getting up and walking and meeting. I'm not trying to be silly. I'm sorry. It's not like a scroll or a parchment or an animal skin with writing on it, or even a tablet that's, appointing to meet Moshe. This is a living being, the word of Elohim. This is our Messiah, clearly in the Torah, where my word is appointed to meet you, and the man whose rod germinateth shall be he whom I approve to minister before me. And I will make the murmurings of the sons of Israel with which they have murmured against you to cease from me. So Yahuah is just continuing to be long-suffering, showing them, continuing to show the people, like, listen, this is who I've chosen. This is who I've chosen. This is who I've chosen. So, I have a little note here. The importance of the rod. We see a rod becoming a snake, then becoming a rod again. The rod was used to turn the water into blood, which also is used to bring forth the frogs, the lice, the hail, the locusts. The rod was raised alongside the waters of the Red Sea to be parted. The rod was used to strike the rock to bring forth the water, symbol of Yahusha. And let's see, I've got some speaking more about rods. Psalm 2:9, you shall break them with a rod of iron. You shall dash them in pieces like a potter's vessel. This is the nations. This is when the reign of Yahusha and New Jerusalem and his people, they are going to break the nations with a rod. Revelation 2:25-29, but that which ye have already hold fast till I come. And he that overcomes and keeps my works unto the end, to him will I give power over the nations, and he shall rule them with a rod of iron. As the vessels of a potter shall they be broken to shivers, even as I received of my Father. Right? So the same promise. Same promise. Okay. So let's keep going. And Moshe brought out all the rods from before Yahuah to all the sons of Israel, who recognized and took severally their rods. And Yahuah said to Moshe, take back the rod of Aharon before the testimony, to be kept for a sign for the rebellious children, that their murmurings may cease from before me, lest they die. And Moshe did so. And Yahuah commanded, And Moshe did so, as Yahuah commanded, so did he. And the sons of Israel spake with Moshe, saying, behold, some of us have been consumed with the flaming fire, some of us have been swallowed up by the earth and have perished. Behold, we are accounted as if all of us are to be destroyed. Anyone who approaches the tabernacle must die. Are we not doomed to destruction? Chapter 18. And Yahuah said unto Aharon, you and your sons and the house of your fathers with you shall bear the iniquity of the consecrated things, when you have not been heedful in offering them, and you and your sons with you shall bear the iniquity of your priesthood, when you have not been heedful of their separations. And your brethren also of the tribe of Levi, who are called by the name of Amram thy father, shall you bring near to you, that they may consociate. And see, here's another word. Yeah, to bring or come into friendly cooperative. Consociate. Okay. That they may consociate and minister to thee. But you and your sons with you only shall stand before the tabernacle of the testimony, and they shall keep your charge, and have charge of all the tabernacle. Yet to the vessels of the sanctuary and to the altar they are not to come near, lest both they and you die. And they shall have appointment from you without, and keep charge of the tabernacle of ordinance for all its service, and a stranger shall not come near you. And you shall keep the charge of the sanctuary and of the altar, that there may be no more the wrath that has been upon the children of Israel. And behold, I have taken your brethren, the Levites, from among the sons of Israel. To you they are given a gift before Yahuah to perform the work of the tabernacle of ordinance. So, right, the Levites did all the service of the tabernacle, taking it down, setting it up, repairs, whatever it may be. So the priests could do priest stuff, right? But you and your sons with you shall keep the charge of your priesthood in all things that pertain to the altar, those within the veil, and shall minister by lots according to the service. So provision of food have I given you on account of the anointing of your priesthood, and the stranger who comes near shall die. So this is an interesting point. A lot of people take shots at pastors, like at churches, because, they take tithes of the people, the pastor on the plate, to pay for the building and to pay for their salary and those kind of things. And, I have to say, it's something that I've looked at quite a bit, and a lot of people would also, take a shot at me because I do this full time and I live off of the ministry, providing for my household. And, it's ironic, it's hypocritical for the pastors to do so, because you get that whole concept from the priesthood, so that they didn't have to worry about anything else. They would spend their whole time in service to the Most High, in service to the tabernacle, and so they get tithes of the people to sustain their households, so that they can stay occupied in the Torah and teaching the children of Israel the Torah and those kind of things, which pastors do. But it's because they say, well, all the law is done away with. Well, why hasn't the tithe law been done away with? And so, it's something that some people have come to me over the years that they accuse me of selling the word or selling the gospel, which is not true, because I've never asked for a penny, nor have I ever charged anybody a penny for anything, any study, nor have I ever asked. But praise be to Yah that ever since doing this full time, He's provided every bit of our needs through the congregation and through that, so that I can occupy my time full time in study of the scriptures, the Torah, the prophets, the writings, and to not only learn myself, but to share that with the people. So, not saying that I'm in a priest role, because obviously I don't offer sacrifices and those kind of things in the tabernacle, but in a sense, that is the same role that some people have been established by the Most High to teach. Even though I don't call myself a teacher, I know what I do is a teaching role, and I say that because not that I know that everything I say I'm held accountable for, but that Yahusha is our great teacher. The Ruach He put within us leads us unto all truth. But truly, as Paul and many have said, or as Paul specifically said, some are evangelists, some are teachers, some are such and such, so and so forth. So anyways, I just wanted to cover that with you all in case you ever had any questions as to why I feel led to do this full time. So anyways, just wanted to make that connection. And Yahuah said to Aharon, and I have been pleased to give you the charge of my separated offerings, the cakes of the first fruits, and all the consecrated things of the children of Israel. To you I have given them on account of the anointing, and to your sons by an everlasting statute. They shall be to you most sacred. Whatsoever remaineth of the sheep offered by fire, and all their oblations, of all their minchas, that's their offerings, right? Of all their sin offerings, and of all their trespass offerings which they present before me, they are most sacred for you and for your sons. You may eat in the sanctuary, every male may eat thereof, on account of the holy anointing it shall be thine. And this is what I have set apart to you of their separated minchas, and of all the uplifted things of the sons of Israel. To you I have given them, and to your sons and your daughters with you by an everlasting statute. Whoever is clean in your house may eat of it. All the best of the olive oil, of the grape wine, and of the wheat of their first fruits, which they present before Yahuah, I have given to you. So that they ate well. They didn't eat people's garbage. The people brought them the best of all they had. The first of all the trees of their ground which they present before Yahuah shall be yours. Everyone who is clean in your house may eat them. Every devoted thing in Israel shall be yours. Whatever opens the womb of all flesh among animals which they offer before Yahuah, as the regulation concerning men, so the regulation concerning cattle, it is to be yours. Only you are to redeem the firstborn of man by the 5 shekels, and the firstlings of the unclean animal you shall redeem with lambs. And the redemption of a man child of a month old you shall make according to the estimation of him, by 5 shekels of silver in the shekel of the sanctuary, which is 20 mias. But the firstling of oxen, of sheep, or of goats you may not redeem, for they are sacred. But you shall sprinkle their blood upon the altar, and burn their fat for an oblation to be accepted before Yahuah. And their flesh shall be yours for food, as the breast of the elevation, and as the right shoulder it shall be yours. Everything set apart of the sacred things which the sons of Israel consecrate to Yahuah have I given you, to your sons and your daughters with you by a perpetual statute, not to be abolished, as the salt which seasoneth the flesh of the oblation, because it is an everlasting statute before Yahuah. So shall it be for you and for your children. And Yahuah said unto Aharon, you will not receive a possession in their land as the rest of the tribes, nor will you have a portion among them. I am your portion and your inheritance in the midst of the children of Israel. And behold, I have given to the sons of Levi all the tenths in Israel for a possession, on account of their service which they serve in the work of the tabernacle of ordinance. And the sons of Israel shall no more come near the tabernacle to incur the sin unto death, but the Levites shall minister in the work of the tabernacle, and shall bear their sin if they be not diligent in their work. It is an everlasting statute for your generations. But among the sons of Israel they shall have no possession. Therefore the tenths of the children of Israel, which they set apart for a separation before Yahuah, have I given to the Levites for a possession, because I have said to them that among the sons of Israel they shall possess no inheritance. And Yahuah spake with Moshe, saying, speak to the Levites, and bid them take from the sons of Israel the tenth which I have given them for their possession. And then shall you separate from it a separation before Yahuah, a tenth from a tenth, and your separation shall be reckoned to you as the corn from the threshing floor, and as the wine from the fullness of the winepress. So shall you set apart your separations before Yahuah from all your tenths, which you may receive from the sons of Israel, and give thereof a separation before Yahuah unto Aharon the priest. So the Levites got the tenth, and then the Levites tithed a tenth of the tenth to the priests. Of all your gifts you shall set apart a separation before Yahuah, of all the finest and the best therein. And say you to the priests, when you have set apart the finest and the best of it and in it, then shall it be reckoned to the Levites as the setting apart of corn from the threshing floor, and of wine from the winepress, and you may eat it, you, the priests, in any place, and you and the men of your house, for it is your remuneration for your service in the tabernacle of ordinance. So this is their pay, right? They got a tenth of it, all the produce, all the wheat, all the wine, everything. It was their pay. So serving Yahuah and serving his people and being paid for it is not selling his truth or selling his word. That was their duty. And some people even today are picked for that duty, and they should be allowed to have maintenance for that. And we see that where in Yahusha says a workman is worthy of his hire. He told him not to bring gold or silver or anything, because when you're out and preaching the word, you'll get fed, you'll be taken care of, and that's how it should be. So and you shall not contract, okay, let's see. And you shall not contract guilt by it. At what time you set apart the finest and the best of it, by anyone eating of it who is unclean. Neither shall you profane the consecrated things of the children of Israel, lest you die. So, kind of a shorter portion today, but I pray that it was something that was of use to you. If nothing else, we learned that we should be respectful of Yahuah's leaders, and we should not be rebellious like Korah and Dathan and Abiram and, murmuring and complaining. It just does not lead to anywhere good. So let's pray. Heavenly Father, O Yahuah, we come before you in Yahusha's name, and we bless you and praise you and thank you for sending your son, Messiah Yahusha, your word, who is just so clear reading through these texts. Oh yeah, and we just thank you that it's such a gift in these last days, and we just ask that you continue to help us understand your word, that we be doers of your word and not just hearers only, and help us that we may walk your narrow path and neither deviate to the left hand or to the right. And all these things we rejoice in you, and we thank you for this Shabbat and bless you for another week and an opportunity to study from your Torah. Amen, amen, and hallelujah. Let it be so. Okay, with that, brothers and sisters, we will do a couple songs tonight. We're going to do the priestly blessing, and then let's do the 10 Commandments song. How about that? Shabbat shalom, brothers and sisters. See you soon. Yevarechecha Yahuah ve'yishmerecha Ya'er Yahuah panav lecha v'chuneka Yisa Yahuah panav lecha ve'yaseh lecha shalom Yisa Yahuah panav lecha ve'yaseh lecha shalom ve'yaseh lecha shalom ve'yaseh lecha shalom. Yahuah bless you and keep you. Yahuah make his face shine upon you and be gracious unto you. Yahuah lift up his countenance upon you and give you peace. Yahuah make his face shine upon you and be gracious unto you. Yahuah lift up his countenance upon you and give you peace. let's sing a little song about the two greatest commandments, loving Yahuah and loving people. Let's start with how we love Him.
You shall not have any other Elohim before Him. You shall not have any graven images, for you are His. You shall not bow down to them, nor shall you ever serve them. Keeping His commandments shows you love Him. Yahusha did not abolish but strengthen them. Blessed are those who keep His way. They may have the right to enter through the gate. And you shall not take His name in vain, and remember the Sabbath day and keep it holy. Work 6 days and then we rest and be refreshed. Honor your mom and dad, and then you'll be surely glad. Keeping His commandments shows you love Him. Yahusha did not abolish but strengthen them. Blessed are those who keep His way. They may have the right to enter through the gate.
Now we're going to sing about loving other people. Here's how.
And you shall not murder anyone, even in your heart. Love everyone, and you shall not commit adultery, even in your mind. Put that all behind, and you shall not steal anything. Be satisfied with what Yah provides, and you shall not tell any lies, for He sees all who's above the skies. You shall not covet anything, but keep His ways. You won't lack a thing.
Keeping His commandments shows you love Him. Yahusha did not abolish but strengthen them. Blessed are those who